Hi guys, this is a video in two parts. The first part, we are going to refactor some of the Manic Miner code, and we're going to do the demo mode for the game. And in the second part, which will be out next week, we're going to do the game over screen. So we start that at the end of this video, but this is mostly the sort of refactoring and the sort of thought process behind what goes behind a refactor for this type of game anyway. So without further ado, let's get cracking after the fade. Alright, so we still have to fix this. But I want to tidy up, where are we? This is the room ID. Oh, that's interesting. Why is that? The room ID is 0. If I set that to another room ID? Well, we'll be in Visual Studio anyway. Just take a couple of notes here. Okay. And oh yeah, this is the start. So when you complete the game, so we need to, do we have a debug mode? Okay, we don't have a start game, so we're gonna have to do a start game here that resets this here. So let's do that first of all. So I'm going to create a new scene, and I'm just going to make the background black. And for now, I'm just going to add a UI component, which is just a button which is start game. And so I will change that to start game. And I will, where are we? Scripts. And we don't have a UI script. So I'm going to create a folder called UI, and inside there I'm going to create another folder called debug, because I don't really want to have this forever, so I'm going to call this debug start the game. And then debug start the game, I'm going to drag that script. Onto button. And then for button, I am going to reload that. So my button is going to be require component type of button. And I'm going to add my UI component there. And then when the game starts, actually when we awake, I'm going to do var button equals get component button, because we need a button. Then I'm going to say button dot listener on click dot add listener, and then we need to create a new Unity action. So if you, I'm going to put a link up here, and I'll remind myself to do that at 5 minutes. Link to button action. So there's a video I did about this, I think. If I didn't, I'll link the action video up there. But essentially what we want to do is we want to do a new Unity action. And we can simplify that. We can just do using events, and the new Unity action takes in an action. So what does that mean? Well, it means we can actually just use our blank action here, which is this. I can tidy this up a wee bit. That's as much as it's going to tidy it up. Let's move it over to there. And so for this, what we want to do is we want to, where's the game controller? Yeah, here we go. We want to reset these values here so that we can play the game from the start as if it's fresh. So instead of saying room ID equals that, we're going to say set int, and then it's going to be 0. And we're going to do set int score 0. Okay. And that is all we need to do for that. So that means we don't need to faff around creating events and all this kind of stuff over here. We do it all inside the code. Again, there's other tutorials on out there that handle all this without resorting to code. I'm kind of not kind of a programmer. I've been a professional programmer for a long time, and so I tend to do a lot of things in code. So that's why I end up doing these things here. Anyway, all I want to do in this case is I just want to write a quick dirty script that sets the action to be there, and then we have to then load the scene as well. So we've got to do scene manager dot load scene, and then it's going to be game. And we also need to include the scene manager. So I think we called it game. I think it's called game. Scenes. No, there's just a test scene. No, there's the scenes there. So in this case, it's going to be, I think it's room store test. I want to save it. Yep. I want to save that to scenes, debug, and I'm going to call it debug main menu. And room store test. Okay, so it is room store test. So really what I want to do is I want to say public string the game equals room store test. And instead of loading the game, I load that. And so if I go to my build settings and then add the open scene, and then go to my main menu and then add the open scene there, drag that so it's in front of there just for completeness. And that's us. And so now when I run it, I should start the game and then it'll load and play the central cavern, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. And that's good. Okay. It also means we can put in other sort of debug things in here as well, because the reason why I want to split everything up is because I want to do the game over screen. Okay, so this is probably going to be me a lot of humming and hawing in this video, so if you want to skip this video and just download the code link is down below. Okay. Right. So first things first, our game is inside here, which is this room loader test. So we have our main camera, we got our game controller here. And we have a room store, Spectrum Screen, room renderer. Okay, so I want to tidy this code up quite a bit. So all the importers and helpers and things like that, I think this is all fairly okay. The problem I've got is I want to make it a little bit more modular, because if I go to the room renderer, I have all of this thing in here, this draw the air supply, draw the score, draw Miner Willy, all this kind of stuff. And really I want to send that off to different objects, and I want to be able to just have those objects in there. So the draw screen, and again we've got Miner Willy in here, and we've got the mobs and the player score, and just I don't know, it seems that we need a refactor, because I want to make this as generic as possible. So we have our draw horizontal guardians. Yeah. So again, I don't think we need to have this here. G and mobs. So we need to pass in the mobs and we need to pass in the Guardian graphics. So the Guardian graphics is the list of byte data. That's all it is. So I'm going to do list byte. I'm going to call that frames. And I'm going to change that to frames there. And now you see we've got a little red dot up here. So instead of that, we're now going to say data.guardian graphics. And that's list byte. Oh, byte array. Did I not have it as a byte array? I don't know why I didn't have it as a byte array. And that's that. But I think we can make this a little bit easier rather than all of this stuff here, because there's a set amount, there's a set level that we want to, there's a set order that we want to put these values in. So for example, this is a clear screen. We want to draw Miner Willy, draw the room, draw the items, all this kind of stuff. So where is this used? This is used in one place, which is inside the game controller. Okay, so game controller needs to know the format of there, and then we're passing that in there. Okay, so we're flopping off everything to there. So Miner Willy is just the player, and that's all he really is, and he's really just a mob. A movable object. So do we need to have two separate movable objects? Because I have Miner Willy there and I have a mob, which is this. So what's the difference between him and him? So the difference is the frames get attached to here. So why can't I just attach the frames here? I don't think this is any different to this one here. So we've got G start X, Y, left and right start frame, then left and right. So do we have a horizontal guardian? Do we have a vertical guardian? Horizontal guardian is just that. That's all that is. The horizontal guardian is just those values. So and that takes in a horizontal guardian. Yeah. Left, right frame. Yeah, I think we can. I think we can make him a mob. I don't think we need to make him a special character. So let's see if we can rejig that. So we take in the frames. Maybe we do we need to take the frames in? So the horizontal guardian, where does this get used? Do we already know the frames at this point? Because if we already know the frames at this point, does it really matter? So G is that there. Get Miner Willy. So we know Miner Willy's sprites. Oh no, we know the store anyway. Because if we go to store, then store already has all the horizontal stuff. Import data, import, import, import. So we've read in everything by that point anyway. So horizontal guardian, start frame is equal to that. And then And there's our special graphic at that point there. And then where's the mobs? So we haven't even done the vertical guardians yet. Guardian graphics, add shape. SP was that. Okay, so really what we want to do is we want to go through all these values here. Where are we adding that? HG attribute. Okay, so this is our horizontal guardians here. Okay. So our horizontal guardians has got that shape attached to it. I might cut this bit out of the video. Okay. This is the problem with coming back with things fresh, is that you don't see these values. Okay. Right. And render. Okay, I think the horizontal guardians some bytes, 6 and 7 bytes. Oh, I see. I think I know what's wrong with this Mabertrons now. Okay, so these values here, we can just pass the frames in there. We don't need to have them as part of that. So I think movable object is good enough. So we have our mob there, and we have a mob, and then instead of horizontal guardian, we're going to do exactly what we did for Miner Willy, which is we take in all these values here. And then we can get rid of some of these classes. Okay, so Miner Willy, I'm going to change this to mob X, because I want to rename this class eventually, but mob X is going to be where everything's going to get stored. So I'm going to change my mob. I'm going to get rid of mob altogether. I'm just going to comment that out. So mob X, we'll rename this file as well. And we'll call that mob X. And now that we have mob X, we should start to see lots and lots of errors. There we go. There's all our errors. So Miner Willy, so instead of that, we're going to call that mob X, and we're going to rename this file later on. And then the mobs are going to be mob X as well. And that's going to be mob X. And we're not going to do this for here, but actually, no, we will do that for here, that's fine. And then we want to pass in into move Willy. So we want to take in mobx. And we want to take in mobx here as well. And we want to take in a list of mobs as well. And finally we want to draw here. And draw the guardians, which are going to be mobx's as well. And that should be us, except for this one here. Okay, so for this one here, what we're going to do is we're going to pass in this is going to be store.guardians. What's it called? Room data. Horizontal guardians, and then it's going to be start x, so it's going to be g dot start x, g dot start y, g dot left, g dot right, g dot start frame, and g dot attribute, and that should be it. Now this is not liking this because horizontal guardians is not the right one. Horizontal guardians dot frames. Guardian graphics. That's the one. So guardian graphics is actually the horizontal guardian graphics. So after all those changes, we don't have any errors. And now when we run it, the game should just run exactly the same way as it did before, except that we now have a couple of less classes. A couple of less classes is good, because the less classes we have, the less problems we have with debugging. So there we have Manic Miner, well, Miner Willy, he walks the way that he's always walked, and the little crazy toot guy, he always is walking the same way as well. So now we can get rid of mob. We don't need mob, and we don't need horizontal. Oh no, we do need horizontal guardian. We don't need movable object though, because movable object, actually does mobx extends from movable object, so we can get rid of movable object as well. So I am going to take all of these values here, and I'm going to put them in here, and I'm going to take out movable object, and that means I can get rid of movable object, and I'm going to change mobx to mob. So I'm going to change that to mob, and it did not ask me. Normally it asks me. Mob, rename mobx to mob. Yep, there we go. And so because of the magic of Visual Studio, everything is now renamed. So now we only have one class called mob, because we have a mobile object, and that mobile object is a sprite of some kind. There we go. Okay, so in here it says that bidirectional graphics are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 15. So we need to make sure that when we do these values here, first of all, I want to be able to change to the next screen. So I want to do like a page up, page down, so we can move between the next screen. And the reason why I want to do that is because that's part of the demo mode. And so, what do we have here? Is that never used? Okay, well, that's never used. Let's get rid of that then. There you go, we're just getting rid of stuff now. Okay, and then the room renderer. I think we want to get rid of a lot of these things in here. So we want to be able to like draw the air supply, all that kind of stuff. We want to be able to put this off into different renderers. What do we need to do that? We need to pass in the screen. So we need to pass in the spectrum screen to the renderer, and then we want to add that renderer to our actual room renderer. Okay, so I'm just making sure that's just had a flash that I wasn't recording the audio there. So I want to tidy these up, but should I do the debug mode first? Let's do debug mode first. Okay, so if I'm in debug mode, where are we? I want the game controller. And I'm going to have a private is demo mode. Actually, it should be is demo mode equals true. And I'm going to set this to be true because we need to do change this. So if it's the demo mode, we don't want the player to move. So move Willy. So we're going to say if not demo mode, start the coroutine to move Willy. Okay, because we don't want to move Willy. So now that we have that in place, we should be able to then tweak those values. There we go. So we don't have Willy moving. So everything else moves, Willy doesn't move. Okay. So now we want to say if is demo mode, start coroutine, and then the coroutine is going to be flip the screen. Okay, so flip the screen is going to be pretty cool. So we're going to say enumerator, flip the screen. So what this is going to do is it is going to wait for a certain amount of time, 5 seconds. Let's keep it at 5 seconds just now. It's going to wait for 5 seconds, and then at the end of 5 seconds, it's going to reload the current scene with the next screen. So we're going to do room ID plus plus. Actually, this is going to be yield return new wait for seconds 5. So we're going to wait for 5 seconds. Room ID plus plus, and then we're going to do scene manager dot load scene scene manager dot get active scene dot name, and that's going to do the trick for us. And we're going to say if room ID greater than or equal to 20, room ID equals 0. So we'll cycle those screens there. And yeah, that's our demo mode. Well, there's one more thing as well. We want to we don't actually want to wait for 5 seconds. We want to be able to press any key and go back to the main menu, but we'll figure that out when we get a main menu working. So now that we have our demo mode, we should be able to cycle through the screens. Well, it cycled through the screen, but it didn't actually move to the next scene. Do you know why? Because I never set the room ID. I need to do that. So inside here, what are we going to do? Flip the screen. Flip press set int room ID. Okay, so now we'll wait 5 seconds, it will flip the screen, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we'll wait 5 seconds. Oh, Willie's white there for some reason. Black, I should say. So these ones here, these don't actually animate. These are actually set. Same as these as well. And that Kong beast is in the wrong place as well. And these don't move, these are vertical, I think. And yeah, these don't, these are weird as well. And those are vertical ones. I think these are vertical ones as well. Yeah, these are all wrong. So this is good, we can actually see all the rooms there. The Skylab's different because it's got these weird beams that we'll have to try and figure out how to do that. And yeah, these are just crazy boat things that, yeah. I think 19 blows up, doesn't it? It ends up with an error. There's a lot of screens to get through. Oh, there you go, final barrier. Right, that worked actually. I think that crashed out the last time, didn't it? Okay, so that's going to cycle forever. That's good. Let's make it 3 seconds though, because it takes a bit long to go through there. Okay, so I'm going to demo next screen. And I'm going to change that to demo next screen so that it's a bit more implicit what's actually, or explicit as to what's actually happening there. Alright, so that's our demo mode done. So we have our demo mode. What else do we need to do? So I want to be able to draw anything I want. So the problem with this is that all of this is, well, it's set for the game, which is fine, but I want to be able to draw other things on the screen. And what I mean is, let me see if I can get this. YouTube, and then Manic Miner death screen. So let me kill the audio. Oh no, the audio is already dead. So that's the start screen. Yeah, here's the Manic Miner logo here. So we'll play this game. Maybe it'll die at some point. Or not. Yeah, this guy's too good. Okay. Alright, so basically what happens is a Monty Python book comes all the way down and kills Miner Willie. So we need to replicate that for our death screen. But what can we do in the meantime to tidy this up? Because I don't want to draw this. I don't want to draw all these things all over again. Is that still playing in the background? Okay. Okay. So the problem I've got is that all of this is inside this this one class, and this class is only going to get bigger. So I don't really want that. But what I want to do is I want to be able to draw the boot end sequence. Maybe we can play the game. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so here is Manic Miner in all its glory. So I'm going to play the game, and then I'm going to die quickly. So we get this here. And we have that. Okay, so that's what we want to recreate. Yep, and I grabbed a screenshot. So that we can okay, so this is our screenshot here. So the book comes down, squashes Manic Miner. So I think this is separate graphics here. So this is 1, 2, 3 maybe. We got Willy on top, and then we got the screen here, and yeah, that's what we've got. So I want to recreate that. Now the best way I think I can recreate that is I can do a so I want to have all this stuff, but I don't want to include this in everything. So I don't want to draw horizontal guardians. I basically want to draw this, but not draw certain things. So I want to be able to draw Miner Willy, but I don't want to be able to like have to keep drawing him. So what I think I want to do is I want to, so this is passing in the room data, and it's getting the attributes on there. Okay, I really want to render this onto here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a renderer objects. So this is located in room. Okay, so I'm going to create, let's do add class, and then I'm going to call this room renderer. Actually, I don't want to create a class, I want to create a folder here. Renderers. So my class is, my first class is going to be a iRenderer, because I want to have a list of items that are renderers. So I don't want any of this. Interface. And this, again, this comes back to, this is just going to be a plain old simple, these are going to be plain old simple C# classes, but it's best to have, instead of like a base class, then you inherit the base class, is just implement the interface. So the interface that we're going to have here is we're going to have a draw method. So we're going to do void draw, and that's it, because what we're going to do is we're going to iterate through these renderers, and then we're going to draw those renderers. And how does the renderer get that information? Well, all it does is when we create those renderers, we pass in all these values here, so we don't need to pass in any of that data, other than maybe the player score, which we probably do need. But we don't need anything else. We don't need the mob and all that kind of stuff, because that all comes in from when we initialize the game. So we're going to do a public void initialize it. We do initialize. So we're going to initialize in there, and then inside the game controller, actually, so initialize inside the game controller is going to take in room data, Miner float, that's going to be mob Miner, well, actually let's just call him player, and then the list of mobs, and then the player score, which we're not going to actually take in because when we call that, where's the player score come from? It comes from high score and score, and that comes from here and here. So I am now going to do public score int score get public int high score get turn high score, and for this one it is going to be return score. So I'm going to pass this back out, so I'm just going to pass in the game controller itself. So I'm going to pass in game controller. So that's what I'm going to pass in for here, and then for draw screen I'm not going to pass in anything. I am just going to pass in everything down here. Okay, so bear with me, this is going to be a little bit tedious, but it needs to be done. So the first thing is we have our renderer here. So we're going to have a Miner Willy renderer. So we're going to have add class, and then this is going to be what have we got here? We need to have Miner Willy renderer. So we have our Miner Willy renderer, which is going to extend from iRenderer. And you see that we need to implement our interface here. Now inside our room renderer, for Manic Miner we take in Miner Willy and we take in data. So Miner Willy takes in a mob and room data. So I'm going to say renderers dot add new Miner Willy renderer, and it takes in data and it takes in Miner Willy itself, the player. So it takes in the player and the data. Okay, so I'm passing in this information here, so that now when I do draw Miner Willy, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw. I'm going to make a call to the room to the actual renderer itself. So I'm tidying everything up, making everything sort of ship shape and whatever. And so in reality, what I want to do though is I have a room renderer here, and I don't really want to have that in here. What I actually want to do is I want to pass in the room renderers. So instead of having this, which I'm going to create the constructor for this, I'm going to create the constructor for that, but what I actually want to do is I want to have a private ilist renderers. So I want to have a list of renderers, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass that into here. And then I'm going to say this dot renderers equals, did I call it renderer? Renderers? Yeah, renderers equals renderers. And that's being my initialization. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment that out just now, and then I'm just going to do for each renderer, I'll call it R in renderers r.draw. So now I'm abstracting what we're actually doing. So this room renderer draws things on the screen. That's its purpose. But it doesn't necessarily need to know what it's drawing. It just controls what gets drawn. So if we want to stop this from getting drawn at any time, all we need to do is we need to just stop this renderer here. It also means that we are taking the control of the creation of all of this, and we're taking it outside the hands of the renderer, which means we can now get rid of all of this code and put this into separate classes, which makes it more testable, which is even better. So the first thing is we want to draw Miner Willy. Okay, so how do we draw Miner Willy? Well, we actually, we actually have the code down here. So this is how to draw Miner Willy. So I'm going to cut the code out of here, and then I'm going to paste the code inside here. So you'll see that we have our player and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to put underscores here. This is a sort of standard that's sort of coming to the fore in C# development anyway, not so much in like Java or whatever, but certainly in C#. And then I'm just going to make sure all these values get changed. I need to add this attribute here. I don't have the screen, so I need to pass in screen as well. And what else do I need to do? So screen is actually handled with a room renderer. So so screen is actually handled by that. So what we probably need to do instead of doing the init here is we probably need to pass in some kind of initializer in there as well, because the renderer needs to know about the screen, unfortunately. So I'm going to say var temp equals new list I renderer. And I'm going to do renderers for, can I do this? No, I can't. For each var r in renderers r.init. I just want to do screen just now. I don't think we need anything else. And of course this is a red squiggly, so we need to add our void init spectrum from screen. And need to add that there. And so now we get around the sort of thorny issue of what is this? What? What was the error? Oh, okay, that's fine. And then we need to do public void init spectrum screen. So screen equals screen, and then we're going to do generate field, and that's going to add our field up to there. So now we have our screen, and we can pass all these values in here. So instead of M, we're going to use player. So I'm going to do player, 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 player. And we can get rid of that there. So now inside our game controller is now busted. So we've got this value down here, so draw screen. So we don't need to draw the screen with any of all that data there. We can just pass in that. and that does exactly the same thing as it should do. But inside our initialize, where's our initialize? So inside our initialize, which is our start, just before we start doing all that kind of stuff, we'll do setup renderers, and our setup renderer is just a plain old function, and I'm going to do our temp equals new list I renderer, tmp.add new miner willy renderer, and then we pass in the player, which is going to be we need to go back and have a look at this, which is miner willy, which we pass in the mob, which is miner willy. So we do data.miner, oh it's not, room miner willy, oh no, it's actually just miner willy. Miner willy, and then the room data, which is room data. And then at the very end of this, we then do our renderer, what do we call it again? Update, move willy, draw screen, room renderer, there we go, room renderer dot init tmp. Why not? Where's this going to come from? Draw screen, room renderer. Okay, we need to pass that in. That's fine. And we'll call it room renderer. There we go. So we pass that in there. What's this saying? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we're passing in the room renderer. We specify all these values here. So setup renderer, we need to do room renderer. So we are. We'll probably get around to changing this as well, but this is where our room renderer gets set up. And so if I stop this, and now when we run this, we should only just see Manic Miner. And we get nothing. We get a null reference. Because they're not getting added. Probably because that's getting set to there. So I'm going to do if renderers equals null, return. So just in case there's no renderer, which will probably be for the first frame and the first frame only, we won't draw anything. Okay, well we're not getting anything, which is probably a good thing. Let's see if we can get the room done. So we'll do the same thing in here. So this is our room data here. So I'm going to do add class block data block renderer. Implement. Make a screen and then draw that and generate a field, and then the room data is going to be private room data public block renderer room data room data equals room data. And then we just need to paste these values here. And that is it. So that is all we need for our draw room data. And we go back to our game controller, and then we do tmp.add new block renderer, and then we pass in the room data. And yeah, that's it. Oh, room reader, room renderer init. That adds all those values to there. Let's see if this gets hit. And then we call back the here. So that is never getting hit because I never add it. That's why. And I want to say renderers, this dot renderers equals temp. So that's why that never gets added. So I can get rid of this. And this will hit. So now what we should see is we should see the room and we should see Manic Miner. We see neither. Oh, well, it is moving. So it's moving to the next room. Let's attach to here and see if it's drawing. So it is drawing. It's just saying that there's 0 renderers. So is this not getting set? Because I'm not adding to it. tmp.add. Wow. So many mistakes. Alright, let's try that. Whelp. That doesn't look right. That looks almost certainly worse than what we had before. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, so done broke it. I don't know what. So this looks okay. Let's see if we can get the air supply in. So the next one is drop. Wait a minute. Why is the room title in there? I'm not even drawing the room title. What? Is that from the game controller? Wait a minute. How is that even possible? So I don't have. Yeah, this needs to get split up as well. Move to the next cavern. End of cavern check. Demo scene. Where's the room data? Where's room data? Where's the title? Where's this getting used? Block renderer. Huh. That's not the block renderer, is it? Nope. I'm going to copy that, paste that there. Block renderer is going to be room name renderer. Okay, and then the block renderer is actually going to have blocks in it. So if we go back to this is room name renderer. Room name renderer. That's going to render the room name. So that's the draw room title. And draw items is there. Draw air supply, draw score, draw room. Draw room. Okay, here's draw room here. That'll be why. Okay, so if I go to block renderer, and instead of that, I paste in that. And instead of data, I paste in room data. Data, data. And then screen is going to be screen. And I'm missing something else. Where is it? Oh, that's it. Okay, so now I should get block data. I don't know why I'm getting a broken Manic Miner, but I should be getting block data. Okay. So Manic Miner's still wrong, but at least I'm getting block data back. My name is now wrong because I don't have that in there, but I want to maintain the renderer part of it. So where's the room renderer? So I can get rid of that. So that's gone. Draw horizontal guardians. Okay, so this is going to be add, and this is going to be horizontal guardian renderer. And same thing as before. So implement the interface. And take this out. And draw. Spectrum screen. Grab it. And we need frames and mobs. Okay. So I want to do public horizontal guardian renderer, room data, and then I want to have, I think that's all I need actually for this. There. Horizontal guardians, and then oh, but it's not that, is it? It is horizontal guardians is not in there. It is in it's in the game controller somewhere. Room data. Where do we create that? Is that in room renderer? List of mobs. Okay, so screen. So draw screen. This is why you should plan things out. Mobs. Okay, so I have mobs kicking around here somewhere. There you go, I've got mobs. So I need to pass in mobs into the room renderer, into the, you know what I mean, setup renderer part. So I need to do tmp.add new horizontal guardian renderer, and we're going to pass in room data and in mobs. I think that's good to go. And then for here, we need to add our iList mobs. iList mobs. And we need to add our generic collection. Get rid of these to tidy things up. And now we have our mobs. And we'll rename that to there. So this is, instead of horizontal guardians, we're going to say our mobs, and then our frames is going to come from room data. Key shapes, no, guardian graphics. Okay, and so now I'm going to add, what else we need to add? Our game controller. So we got a horizontal one there. We also have a block renderer, and then we have our title, room name renderer. Okay, so we should now have pretty much everything back to where we actually had it before. Okay, I'm getting a null reference in here. Mobs is null because mobs gets created later on. I'm gonna guess. Where's mobs get created? Mobs gets created there. Room data for each there. Mobs add there. Setup renderer, room renderer. Mobs. Oh, that's why. Mobs equals mobs. Okay. And so now we should get this, and hopefully it's not going to be as broken as Manic Miner is. Okay, it's just as broken. Oh, you know why? I think I know why. Because this needs to be, if I go to Manic Miner renderer and I do screen.row order sprite, I think that'll fix it. I need to do that for the other ones as well, but I think that'll fix it. Yeah. So there's the row order sprites, that fixes that, and then I need to do the same thing for our horizontal guardian one, which is in there. So set that there. Okay, that's as broken as it was. That's okay, we can fix these. I know what's wrong with these, I think. Okay, alien Kong beast, and then when it gets back to the other one, the central cavern, it should fix itself. Again, these are all broken because they're they have different movements, and I'll explain that when I fix the problem. But trust me, I think I know what's wrong. These are scissors, I think. Yeah, there you go. He's back. So he's back. The penguins are back. The ducks are back. Yeah, these are broken, but I think I know why. Toilets are back. Awesome. Okay. Good stuff. So in our room renderer, we've done draw miner Willy. So we've done that one. Draw the room. We haven't done draw items yet, so we need to do draw items. So I'll go ahead and continue and do these, but this is essentially what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this video. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your viewage. If you liked the video, thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, then thumbs down. If you want to leave a comment below, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. That would be great as well. Again, no obligation. And similarly, if this is your first time viewing and you haven't subscribed yet and you liked what you see, then there's plenty more videos out there, and I release a new video pretty much every Monday now. That seems to be the sort of rough schedule, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that's the sort of schedule. So if you want to get timely notifications, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification icon at the wherever that is. I don't know where it is now. But if you could do that, that would be amazing. Thank you very much. Again, no obligation. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.